What is up, fishes and fishettes? This is Eric over at Fish Poker. Hopefully you guys had a great 420. If you guys don't celebrate that, then hey, that's cool. Hopefully you guys had a great Easter, but if you guys don't celebrate that either, that's also okay. As for me, my family, we celebrated it in the pagan way. We did the whole Easter egg hunt. We did the barbecue thing, but I think the coolest thing we did for Easter was we had a massive water balloon fight with our neighbors. It was great. It was three houses. We each had about 1,000 balloons in ammo, and it was just great. So this game started off in Downey, California. I went ahead and played with the Pirates. So any of you guys watching, shout out to my Pirates out there on that side of town. The blinds started off at 100, 200, and a chip starting stack of 30,000. Now I know that's a lot of chips, but the blinds went up pretty damn fast. It went from 1, 2, 2, 4, 3, 6, 4, 8, 5, 1,000, 1,000, 2,000, 2,000, 4,000, and then it was an all-in fest after that. So I tried to stack up early on, and this is how it went down. The game started off with a few playable hands, but unfortunately I wasn't able to play them because folks over in the early position decided to raise 1,000, 2,000, even 3,000 pre-flop, and that might not be a lot when you got 30,000 chips starting stack, but that's a lot of chips when the blinds are still 100 and 200. Our first playable hand of the night is when I get dealt King Jack suited under the gun. Now I know that if I just limp here, there's a good chance that someone down the line is going to go ahead and bump it up 15, 20x times the big blind. So I throw out 500 out there. Hopefully nobody gets out of hand and re-raises. And the good news is that worked. The bad news is that 8 people called and we're 8 ways to a flop. The flop comes and it's King Jack 7. Now on the outside I have my poker face on, but on the inside I'm like, it's not unusual to be mad with everyone. At this point I'm feeling a little trappy. I go ahead and check it. Hopefully somebody down the line takes a stab at it, which is exactly what happened. Somebody in middle position takes a stab at it with 1,500. It folds around all the way down to the button, and the button goes ahead and makes the call. It comes back around to me, and I bump it up to 4,500. The good old check raise. The original raiser with 1,500 goes ahead and folds. Our button goes ahead and calls, and we are heads up to a turn. The turn card's a 6. A 6 of diamonds. Now there's a flush draw out there to go along with 2 straight draws, and I'm not going to slow play it. I reach for chips. I fire off 5,000. Our opponent on the button goes ahead and takes a second or two before he reaches for chips and makes the call as well, and we are heads up to a river. The river's an ace, and quite frankly I feel this is a bad card for us. I get scared. Ace King gets there, Ace Jack gets there. If he's on a draw, Queen 10 gets there. I check it, our opponent checks back, we go ahead and show, and our 2 pairs are good. We pick up a massive pot and we're now chip leaders. We're feeling freaking great. A few rotations later I get dealt pocket queens on the button. Our opponent under the gun goes ahead and raises it up to 3,500. I make the call, and our opponent on the big blind goes ahead and makes the call as well, and we are 3 ways to a flop. The flop comes and it's 4-4 king. Of course there's a king on the board because I have pocket queens. If I would have had pocket kings, there would have been an ace on the flop, and if I would have had pocket jacks, I'm sure there would have been a queen on the flop. Anyways, our opponent on the big blind goes ahead and checks. Our original raiser fires off a continuation bet of 3,000, which I hesitate to call because I'm at 8% if I am drawing to just 2 queens and he does have a king. But he's also giving me 5-1, which I'm not 100% sure what that means, but I make the call and the big blind makes the call as well. The turn card's a 9. Our opponent in the big blind goes ahead and checks, and surprisingly our opponent under the gun checks back. Now I'm going to go ahead and take this as a sign of weakness because I've seen this player go ahead and empty the clip in other situations where he has had it, and now he's checking. So either way, I'm not going to go ahead and take a stab at it. There is a king out there. I'd rather see a free river, and yep, river comes and it's a 6. 6 of spades. Now a flush gets there, and all of a sudden our opponent in the big blind goes ahead and fires off 4,000. Our opponent under the gun goes ahead and calls the 4,000, and well, I'm not gonna go ahead and fold. I can't. I'm getting a good price. I call, we show our hands, and I was going up against pocket jacks on the big blind and pocket nines under the gun. We go ahead and take a great pot. A few orbits around, I'm somewhere in mid position. I look down at king, queen suited. I go ahead and limp in, and my opponent to my left limps in, and everybody else that follows limps in as well, except for the small blind. The small blind looks down at his hand, and he reaches for chips and puts in a raise to 800. Everybody on the table calls them, and we are once again 8 ways to a flop. The flop is 6, ace, 8. Our opponent in the small blind goes ahead and reaches for chips and fires off 1,600. Our opponent in the big blind folds, our opponent under the gun folds, and it comes back around to me, and I make the call. Now I know what you guys are thinking.
But Eric, why did you call? You don't even have a pair. You don't even have a flush draw. You don't even have a straight draw. Even if he hit your king or your queen, there's still an ace out there. You're such a fish.
And to all you fishes that probably sound like that, you guys are absolutely right. I had absolutely nothing on the flop except optimism. There's a whole bunch of cards that can hook me up. Any diamond could hook me up, any 10 could hook me up, any jack could hook me up. And to top it off, our opponent goes ahead and fires off 1,600 into 12,000 and something. That's such a small bet. Anyways, our opponent in the cutoff goes ahead and makes the call, and we are 3 ways to a turn. Turn card is a 10. You see? There's hope now. And not only that, our aggressor goes ahead and checks. I check back because I still don't have anything, and our opponent in the cutoff checks, and we get to see a free river. And what is that free river? Bam. I'm like... Now, back where I come from, this is called the newts. The best possible cant. And there's no greater feeling when you have the newts than when your opponent goes ahead and reaches for chips and bets out. That's exactly what our opponent does. He fires off 6,000 into the newts. I go ahead and repop him. I make it 17,000. Our opponent in the cutoff goes ahead and folds. And our opponent tanks for a little bit, and let's just say he's seen the movie Frozen because he goes on and lets it go. This next hand is kind of weird. I get dealt 2 of the same cards, and I'm not 100% sure if that's good or bad, but the blinds are 300, 600, and I fire off 2,000. Our opponent in the big blind comes around and shoves for about 7,000 and change. And it folds around all the way back to me. And of course, I go ahead and make the call, and we're heads up. And well, let's see what happens.
Hey, I didn't say shit.
I thought
You fucked up, Buzzer. You fucked up. Just let him do it.
Let's crack this fucking aces.
Oh.
Give me a king.
Oh,
Give me a king.
man, come on.
Give me 7, 8.
Oh, a king and a king only.
King and a king only.
Full house. No, not even full
Yeah,
house.
king. Yeah, king full
A
house.
king wins.
King wins.
King wins.
King!
So, get out. Our aces held up, and we knocked out pocket kings. As the night goes on, I keep getting shitty cards after shitty cards. Not only that, but the blinds are going up pretty damn high. It's an all-in fest. Everybody's been going all in pre-flop, and anyways, it was my turn. I get pocket 6s. Our opponent shoves for about 10,000. I go ahead and call, and of course I lose. I double him up. Next hand, I get pocket 8s, and another opponent goes ahead and shoves for about 12,000. And the poker gods hate me, and I lose that one again. The very few hands after that, I go ahead and get 5, 6, and flop 2 pair. Our opponent shoves, I call, and he had a set. We go ahead and lose again and double up that player, and now we're 3 players, and we have around the same amount of chip stack now. And it's getting late. We want to play another game, and well, we go ahead and decide to chop. We took about $125 each, which is not bad, right? I mean, better than losing. Anyways, well, that's it. That's all I got for you guys today. Hopefully you guys stay tuned for the next one. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and hit that subscribe button below. And, well, I'll see you guys later. Oh, there's more!